One guy told me one time he'd gone into the restaurant. He had absolutely planned to only eat half of what was served, and he was going to take the rest home. But he didn't do what I told him. I told him to get the box beforehand, get the food separated off before he started to eat. He didn't do that. He says, and he told me so. He says, I didn't do that. He says, by the time I remembered to get the box, I'd eaten it all. You know? So you just have to you have to use what they call vigilance and be aware of what's going on. Monitor your weight so that if you see it going up, you can act before it gets out of hand. If you want to lose weight, you still have to be very vigilant, and the physical activity together with some level of controlled intake is necessary. There's no magic diet. There's no magic nutrient. Carbohydrate, fat, and protein are all very important parts of a healthy way to eat. They don't live on their own. Calorie reduction compared to calories used is what's needed to lose weight. Calories about the same as calories used is what's needed to stay the same weight. And your mix of foods, even though I promote these goodwill balanced ways of going, not everybody eats that way, and there's plenty of people who control their weight just fine not eating this way. This is just the healthier. To me, it really defines out as a healthier way. You get your vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients and fiber, protein, things like that out of the food, rather than thinking you're going to rely on a supplement. You can't rely on a supplement because there's a lot of stuff in the food that they don't know how to put in the supplements, for one thing. So just a good idea to get it out of the food, and that requires balanced kind of eating along those lines. If you're not there on the vegetables, gradually try to add them in, increase them. What your kids do, or what you try to make your kids do, whatever. So, and I heard you stopped before, and you're back. Did you gain weight when you stopped before?
No, I didn't stop till.
You didn't really stop. Okay. Well, that's, it's hard.
Yeah.
Well, I must say I haven't had to stop, but it is hard. It's not an easy thing to do. It's, and then we start talking about some of the other things that aren't easy to do, and weight is one of those issues. So the smoking really does come first. Just don't let the other things really get in the way. And hopefully some of what we talk about here helps you work through those. The other thing you sort of have to have is a plan. So you recognize that you're going to want to pick up more food, then you really need to start to develop the plan with yourself. Some people call it goals, but it's sort of a plan. How am I going to take care of that? Am I going to change the products? Am I going to go extra? What am I going to do that's going to help me not pick up too much extra food? And then recognize some of the things that will get in the way, so that you can also sort of work through those. I tell folks sometimes, what are you going to do when you're going to eat healthy? Are you going to tell yourself, well, I'm going to replace my afternoon candy bar with an apple, and then you get to the middle of the afternoon and you go down to the snack bar area, and do you find an apple? Not most snack bars. 99% of them, at least, that you're not going to find the apple. So what are you going to do? You've got to reevaluate what your decision was and decide, well, if I want the apple, I'm going to have to bring it. And that means I'm going to have to go to the store and buy it, and I'm going to have to be sure it gets to work. If I don't want to do that, is there something else there? Can I really look through the types of things they have and find something that suits my needs better than the candy bar? And every so often, you're still going to have the candy bar. So one of the other things is just don't say that every afternoon I'm going to have an apple instead of a candy bar, unless you really didn't like the candy bar in the first place. Say, okay, most afternoons, or at least 4 out of 5, or whatever you want to give yourself, that's how often I'm going to do it. And sometimes I know I'm going to have the other stuff, but I'm just going to get back to where I wanted to be, where I thought I was going to be. And I'm going to go forward along the lines of health, and having some of those little treats here and there are part of that. So it's not sometimes when people have given themselves the absolute never, 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 then when they do break the rule, and they're bound to, they give it up right away, real quickly, and give it up. So it's real easy to make plans to eat healthy, to exercise. It's real hard to maintain those changes. So hopefully you do. Do y'all have any questions?
Yeah, I never count calories, but what, do you have a chart that shows what your calories should be?
I can calculate it, for sure. It's pretty easy for me to calculate it. I will tell you that. So how tall are you?
5'9".
And how much you weigh?
About 178.
Okay. So I would usually say, and how much exercise do you do?
I don't do any exercise.
Okay. So I would usually say probably 1,500 calories, maybe 1,800 while you're trying to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the no exercise, I'd probably say 1,500. If you exercised, I might say 1,800 while you're trying to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am not the greatest on promoting people counting calories either.
Yeah.
But I do believe that what that does for you, if you have a number in hand, and when they start, particularly when they start putting the numbers on the restaurant menus and fast food restaurant places, or you bought a frozen thing and it says, oh, this has got 1,000 calories in it, and you're headed for 1,500. Well, maybe you know that that's not the best item for the day, or you're going to have to divide it up and have it stretched to another day or something like that. I think that that if you go in and you see the entree you thought you were going to buy is 1,000 calories, and you say, oh, but I'm only headed for 1,500. What do they have that's less? And then maybe you see something that you know you like that's only 600 calories. There's your better choice for most days. These days, with the way we eat out so often, you've got to treat eating out like a regular day. There's still a tendency in a lot of people to think that eating out is a special occasion. If you eat out even one time a week, much less people are eating out 3, 4, 5 times a week kind of thing, it's part of your regular day, and you have to plan it in. And then you still might have, your kid's birthday, you're going to go somewhere, yeah, you can splurge, whatever. You win some prize, or
Smorgasbord.
the lottery. Yeah, but you have to be careful, because there are days you could occasionally treat it like a splurge, but most of the time you have to treat it like it's the normal, everyday